And today, I want to address something that has silently invaded the mental health of millions of people worldwide. It's not a virus. It's not a toxin. It's social comparison. And its most powerful weapon is in your pocket right now. Every time you pick up your phone and scroll through Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn, your brain enters a loop of unconscious evaluation. Am I good enough? Why am I behind? Why don't I look like that? Why is everyone else winning? These aren't questions of curiosity. They're questions driven by neurobiology. And if left unchecked, they rob us of focus, fulfillment, and even identity. But here's the good news. Once you understand the neuroscience of comparison, you can rewire your mind to stop doing it. Today's episode is about eggs, why your brain compares, how comparison affects dopamine, cortisol, and self-worth tools to break out of the comparison spiral mindset protocols for long-term emotional freedom and performance and how to reshape your relationship with the digital world. Let's start with the foundational truth. From a neuroscience standpoint, social comparison is not weakness. It's a survival function. In evolutionary biology, humans who compare themselves to others in a tribe were better able to talk. The J learned from higher status individuals. X avoid rejection or exile, navigate social structures for food, protection, and mating. This comparison was mostly localized and real-time. Your neighbor's friend's tribe. But now, the comparison isn't with 50 people. It's with 5 billion. The human brain has specific networks involved in comparison. Chief among them X, the default mode network. DNG, active during self-reflection and social imagination X, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, VMPFC key, computes value of others and yourself X, the striatum, processes reward and social, rank JIC. The amygdala reacts to threats, including emotional threats like feeling less than. When you compare yourself online, dopamine gets spiked by novelty and perceived rewards. Serotonin may drop. If others seem more successful, cortisol rises due to the perceived threat of being behind. Your brain believes your status is at risk. It's not just a thought pattern. It's a biological stress response. There are 3 key reasons why social media hijacks our comparison circuitry. 1. Highlight reels as reality. You're comparing your full life to someone else's best 1%. 2. Quantified status likes views, comments, perceived social rank. 3. Endless novelty. Novelty spikes dopamine. Dopamine makes you want more. The result is a loop. Scroll, compare, feel inferior, seek validation, scroll. Again, your neurochemistry is being trained to tie self-worth to social metrics, which are often false, exaggerated, or curated. Studies show that high use of social media is correlated with X, increased anxiety, and depression X, reduced working memories A, increased rumination, disrupted sleep due to blue light and cortisol. But what's more insidious is the erosion of identity. When you constantly view others' curated lives, your brain starts to seek, should I be like them? Seek, am I doing enough? Sick, is my authentic self not valuable? This is identity fatigue, and it weakens the foundation of who you are. Self-worth isn't just a feeling. It's a cognitive construct built through action, repetition, and identity consistency. Your prefrontal cortex integrates, so the J, your behaviors, X, yourself, talk, Jake, your emotional states, and your past outcomes. This creates a self-concept, a stable sense of who I am. When you're constantly comparing, that identity gets destabilized. You're no longer rooted in your values. You're chasing someone else's path. The brain becomes confused. And confusion leads to procrastination, fatigue, and anxiety. The antidote to comparison is not ignorance, it's metric awareness. External metrics X followers, likes, income, beauty, these are context dependent and outside your control. Internal metrics of J, consistency X, kindness, XA, learning, grit, egg, integrity, you have control over these. A protocol 1. Identify 3 internal metrics that matter to you too. Each evening, rate yourself from 10 on how well you lived them 3. Over time, track progress. This anchors your self-worth to your own behavior, not others' outcomes. When you catch yourself comparing 1, 2, name itik. That's comparison. 3, redirecting, ask, what value of mine can I act on right now? This shifts brain activity from the amygdala emotion to the prefrontal cortex, logic and action. Over time, you retrain your brain tog, recognize the trigger, you label it a return to self-direction, the brain becomes what it repeatedly consumes. So if your inputs erig, GG filters, X plastic surgery, private jets, 26-pack abs, then your brain will see these as the baseline. That's a dangerous game. A protocol, the J, unfollow 50 sucks accounts that make you feel inferior. G, follow creators who teach, uplift, or share reality. G, set a positive input. Rule, every 5 swipes must include something educational or motivational, thing azul. Z, limit total input. Dopamine is not infinite. This is not about denial. It's about dopamine hygiene and protecting your neurochemistry. NSDR, or non-sleep deep rest, includes protocols like yoga, nidra, body scan meditations, jazz slow breath work. These practices if X, lower cortisol, KEK, reset dopamine sensitivity to jazz, strengthen emotional regulation networks in the brain, even 10 minutes of NSDR after an intense scroll session rewires the neural path from comparison to calm. Envy is a useful signal if you listen to it wisely. Instead of reacting emotionally, ask, what part of this person's life do I admire? And why? Then go deeper. X, is it their discipline? Zix, of their impact. Jex, their courage. Now ask, how can I bring 1% of that into my life today on my terms? This turns envy into fuel for aligned action, not self-hate. Comparison often triggers the fear, I'm falling behind. But this fear is based on the false premise, the ag, Z, there's one timeline, J, there's one definition of success, J, everyone is racing the same race. None of that is biologically true. In fact, GAG, the brain thrives on late-stage learning. X, neuroplasticity, remains high into your 76. Emotional intelligence peaks in your 40s and 50s. Zit, creativity has no deadline. You're not late. You're just on your own timeline. Mini Cassie Studia, yes, F-arm comparison to Sylph Directania. 29 writer compared herself to influencers daily. Felt uncreative. She began tracking internal metrics daily, reading 6 months later, published her first book, Confidence Returned. Marcus, 41, entrepreneur, felt stuck after watching competitors scale faster. Began NSDR and journaling each evening. Realized he was building a company aligned with his values, not theirs. Ella, 19, college student TikTok and IG made her feel like a failure. She unfollowed 2,000 socks accounts, started Dopamine Detox, created her own art page, gained confidence from doing, not watching. The dopamine system is not designed for massive, irregular spikes. It prefers steady, incremental progress. If you chase the highs of social validation, your dopamine system will exit burnout, X require more stimulation, Z lead to depression or apathy. But if you tie dopamine tog, the ZZ, a consistent morning walk, Wix, a small daily habits completion of your checklist, you win in the long run. Because biology rewards consistency, not comparison. Morning Z-wake and get 130 mins of natural light, no phone for first 30 minutes. Journal one value you'll live today, midday J, focus block without social media J, NSDR, lunch break walk, instead of scrolling evening. Zik reflectig, rate self on 3 internal metrics G, identify any comparison moments J, NSDR, or breathwork before bed, protect, last hour from screens, repeat. Iterate, evolve. Let's remember, what you see online is not reality. It suits you, cropped JX, filtered X, edited, timed. Nobody shares their full truth. Even those who look perfect suffer. Even those who succeed quickly pay a price you don't see. The best way to win is not to compare. It's TOG. TG, define your own success. J, align your actions with your values. GECT, protect your neurobiology from lies. Comparison is natural. It's part of your biology. But letting it run your life is optional. You now have the tools J, internal metrics, X, dopamine, hygiene, X, N, NSDR, envy, as insight, identity rooted in values. Use them. Because the world doesn't need another clone of someone else's highlight reel. It needs you. Grounded, present, focused, real. Don't scroll your life away. Build it. Thank you for your attention. And thank you for taking care of your brain, your biology, and your sense of self.